I want to do a bit of a review today on some SW-Motech crash bars that we've bought for the CBF 125. These are the SBL 016941000/B bars. It's quite a mouthful, and they say they fit the Honda CBF 125 model years 2009 through to current. They were about £67.90 plus £5.90 postage, and I bought them from a company called BS Moto Parts UK. They're an eBay seller, German based, and they took about 10 days to get here. And they came in a really strong box. No complaints there, and very well wrapped in a lot of bubble wrap. Come with a fitting kit and detailed instructions, and all of the smaller parts are well wrapped up as well, in plastic, so that you don't so that they're not damaged before they're installed. The bars themselves are really good quality by the looks of it. I mean, the welds, if you can see, are really nice. There's good powder coated finish, and they've got an SW-Motech. It's almost like a metal rounded plate stuck on there as well on each of the bars. So that will probably add to the look. And the reason I went for these ones is that I think I only saw one other crash bar set for the CBF 125, and that was a Givi crash bar, but it was more of a lower engine guard, whereas I hope this one, or the SW-Motech set, looks more likely to protect the fairing, which, you know, if I drop that bike, I think that's the bit that is more likely to damage. I don't know how many people get crash bars for their 125s, but it's a first bike for me, and people say I'm likely to drop it at some point. So for the price of 60 or 70 quid, I thought I'd go for it, and hopefully that might save me replacing one of the side fairings, which I think those parts, you know, are 60 to 70 pounds just for a replacement side fairing. So I thought it was money well spent, and hey, it might make the bike look a little bit bigger as well. So I'm going to try and go through steps of installation as well today. So I'll show you as much of that as I can. I'm a DIY mechanic. I do a bit of classic car restoration, so I'm okay with tools. It does say in the instructions that this should be installed by a qualified, experienced motorcycle technician, which I'm not, but it's just big boys Lego, isn't it, really? Just bolts. I mean, they give specified torque values for the bolts, but I've got a torque wrench, so I'll do my best to comply as best I can with those things. Okay, I'll move out to the bike now and show you through the main steps of installation. So this is the bike we're installing it on today. It's a 2013 Honda CBF 125 in black. It's currently in really good condition. It's just got over 1,000 miles. I've only had it for about 2 or 3 weeks. It's my first bike, so yeah, I guess I don't want too much bad stuff to happen to it. So I think this is going to be the area where the most of the mounting goes on, and then hopefully it will protect these side fairing parts, which are plastic, so I mean, they do scratch up pretty badly. I mean, a few of the ones that I went to have a look at when I was buying this were pretty scratched, mainly along here, and it also gets the back section as well. But I don't think that wouldn't be protected by these. Yeah, so on each side, essentially, it looks like they'll position themselves here. There's two bars like this, and there are two main screws there, or two main bolts. The top and bottom here, which correspond to these two in the bar. It looks like they're gonna go on there, and there's a central bar as well, which will connect the two side crash bars, which I'll put on as well. So for now, I'll just undo this side's bars, or this side's bolts, and try and fix this one side on, and then I'll film again and show you what it looks like in position. So this is what the instruction guide tells us for step one. It's basically remove both the original screws, the long bolts and nuts that I showed you earlier. So remove the original ones, and we'll be replacing them with these that SW-Motech have provided, and they're sort of ended with some nylock M10 bolts. So the bolts came out okay, and they were pretty tightly on there, I must admit. So I did have to use a breaker bar for the upper one. So they're out now, and I'll just keep those, I think, for if I, when I go to sell the bike, maybe it gives me the option of removing the crash bars and selling them separately. So I'll keep hold of those, just as I kept hold of like the back hand guard for the back of the bike. Now I've got a top box on there as well. Right, so next step is to put a bracket in place around here, and then they say put the crash bar loosely in place, but not to tighten it fully. So I'll look out those brackets, which are here, screws and washers, and I'll put that loosely together from both sides, and see how that goes. I mean, the fit on the right hand side of the bike is pretty tight because the exhaust, but I'll show you that. So they say to take a bit more care on that side. Okay, so these are pretty much in place now, but only loosely. So I've put the brackets and the new screws through there. These bolts are bigger than the originals. They're obviously a bit longer because we're putting a few new mounting plates in between. They're also M17 heads, whereas the previous were M14. So yeah, they're a bit beefier. But I think so far, from what I can see, the black's going to look really good on this bike, and they project a bit out. You want to see the sort of profile from the front, and that might come in a bit as I tighten them up a bit, because they're just I haven't even put the nuts on the side yet. So just to show you, it's quite it's a bit of a tighter fit on this side. I mean, SW-Motech have really put this together well. They know exactly how wide the sort of piece of the exhaust pipe is. All fits really well. It does. The accelerator cable has had to be sorry, it's the clutch, isn't it? Yeah, the clutch cable has had to be sort of slightly pushed up. So I hope that doesn't interfere with its action. I suppose a quick test ride will say that. And then I've got two nylock nuts to put on this side. I mean, it does Oh dear, dropped in the fairing. This is the problem with filming with one hand and doing the job with the other. Now, I was just going to try and put them on loosely. It's where you need a helper when you're doing these things. How can I reach that? This fairing is only on the latest version of this bike. They didn't have it on the MC, so I think it's only the bike that came out in 2013 had these on to start with. Okay, it's quite a tight fit. There it is. What else am I missing? So the washer's fallen off there as well. Okay, well, right, let me take this a bit more seriously. 2 seconds. Okay, so I've got those bolts on now. I've only done them up quite loosely because I think there's just a couple of extra bits to do. So I've got still to do a bolt in here, and also there's a reinforcement bar that spans the engine between the two crash bars, which I've got to install. So that's going to fit in something like that between the two. And I guess that brings the sort of lateral strength to it. But I think they're pretty much in the position they're going to be in now. So just looking at it from the front, they're pretty low profile actually. So you can clearly see the difference there, and the fact that if the bike were laying down, they'd certainly be the first things to hit rather than the fairing. Okay, next on the to-do list is to attach the cross brackets and do the remaining bolts, and then tighten everything in that new position. And it looks like then put some sort of cover, some sort of dressing on the top of the bolts, just to make it sort of blend in a bit better with the black powder coating. So that's all finished now. I mean, the last thing I did was to torque up the main M17 bolts to 46 Newton meters. So I had a torque wrench, so that was okay. Just a quick summary of the tools I used. I had a pretty cheap torque wrench, a ratchet, 13, 14, 17mm spanner set, and 13, 14, 17 ratchet sets as well. A couple of different converters to make those fit, and I think it's I don't know what sort of size Allen key this was as well. But these smaller bolts here definitely need Allen key one side and a 13mm spanner the other one to tighten them up. But that's all done now. There's also some just cover bolts here to make it look less, just make it look more black, I suppose. Looks good, I think. One other thing to do is probably I'll just sit on the bike and I'll show you the perspective from up there. You can't really notice them, to be honest. So just sitting from up here, you do have to lean quite a bit over the sides to see them. So I don't think they'll change your view of the bike from sitting on it, but they will do you a good service, I think, should you drop it. Good thing is, hopefully, I'll never have to find out. Right, job jobbed. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. I'll do my best to answer. The SW-Motech parts were great, to be honest. They look really good quality, so I've got absolutely no complaints with that. So I think that was a good purchase. All right, thanks very much.